Apes trilogy strong! It's laser time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review. I'll talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch the review. How's it going? I am Laser Dude. Welcome to another Laser Dude review, and today we are reviewing War for the Planet of the Apes. So this, of course, is the third movie in the Planet of the Apes prequel, and this is the finality of it, the prequel trilogy that is actually good, really good. So let's get into the basic story. We have Caesar, and of course, played by Andy Serkis, in his beautiful CGI. And he's basically, for the last, I think there's like, 3-4 years apart from the last movie, this one. Maybe it's not that much. I think it might only be like 2 years since the last movie, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. No, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It was Rise, then Dawn, then this one, yeah. Basically, he's just been hiding from humanity. You know, he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't have that many apes compared to the humans that are still left. So he's going out of his way to just stay away from all humanity, but humanity finds him. So let me just say that this movie wasn't necessarily what I thought I was getting from the trailer. And, you know, like, I saw reviews, and when people were saying, hey, everybody, just so you know, you think that this is going to be a big war movie. It's not. There are action scenes in this, but it's not as big as a war movie as you think it is. And I thought, okay, that means there's not going to be a ton of fighting, but there will be, you know, a battle and whatnot. But that wasn't really the case. You know, this isn't a story about the apes versus the humans in a glorious battle to the death. That's not what the story is about. Basically, Caesar goes on a vengeance run where he wants to avenge the crimes done to his people by these humans, and he's going on a run, and that leads into conflict with the Colonel, played by Woody Harrelson. So let's just get one thing straight right off the bat. You know, let's just do the thing that we always say when we're talking about these movies. Andy Serkis does an amazing job as Caesar. I mean, the facial expressions that this guy has to make in order to really make the facial expressions come across in the character. He has such control over his face and the emotions that his character makes. It's unbelievable. And the CGI has gotten so good. They've, like, these are like, we were blown away a bit in, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. You know, we were blown away with it back then, but it's only gotten better over time. We also come across this other ape that was not part of Caesar's original group, called Bad Ape, played by Steven Zahn, and he's also he's a talking ape, and that seems to be like one of the more rare things. Like Caesar's group mostly communicates through sign language. Caesar talks the most. Before Caesar, it was Koba, back in the previous movie, that talked the next. But almost everyone else, you hear occasional lines out of Maurice, but he mostly talked with grunts and sign language. We hear occasional... That's about it. Out of the main apes, those are about it. But Bad Ape actually talks, and he can't do sign language. And I must say that this guy, this character was the funniest out of all the characters. Like, there's been occasional humor in these ape movies, but he is the funniest. And it's really good because we needed some moments of levity because of the way this story goes. This movie, I don't want to give away because I actually think it's an interesting twist that I didn't see coming. So I'll save it for the spoilers, but it takes a different turn that I wasn't expecting it to, that I've really found interesting. I think one of the trade-offs, though, is that while Caesar is very interesting, the other characters, they're good, but we never really see too much about them. Like, Maurice is the one that we get the most out of. Maurice and Bad Ape now, because he can talk. Maurice, you get this feeling that he's, a wise, calm, peaceful soul for an orangutan. You get the feeling like he's like Caesar's most trusted advisor and the one that Caesar will actually listen to. And I like that there are some times where he will ignore Caesar's commands. Like Caesar says, do this, and Maurice was like, I recognize that you got to do that, but I got to do what I got to do, so I'm going to do this anyway. Like, he would die for Caesar, but he's going to still make his own decisions. So let me just say that the effects are still great, the story is handled really well, the pacing as well, and they have actually good comic relief there. And so I think that's all I really want to talk about in terms of the story before getting into the spoiler part, because there's more that I have to say in the spoiler part of this review than I have to say in the regular part of the review. I think for the regular part of the review, I want to say that the movie is good. Probably not my favorite overall. I think the second one is still probably my favorite overall, but I don't know if I might enjoy this one more than the first one. But it's hard to tell because Caesar talks a whole lot more in this, which in a weird way makes it seem a little bit less epic. I mean, you know, in the first movie when he's like, "Get your hands off me, you dirty ape," he goes, "No!" We're all like, "Oh, I just crapped out a brick." You know, and so when he speaks more, it becomes less special and just becomes more commonplace. But the places they can take this story are far and beyond what they could take the first movie, because it was setting up the way the world was going to end up. Where this one is closing it. It's a finality to it. So yeah, I would have to like rewatch all of them to get my clear thoughts, but I still think that this is a good trilogy. Thumbs up. Good all around. Probably great. One of the if I did a top 10 favorite movie trilogies, this would be on the list. I don't know how high, but it's in the top 10. So let's just get to the spoilers by giving my rating first. So I'm going to give War of the Planet of the Apes a 8 out of 10. I think I think that it's really good. I wouldn't necessarily say fun. As I say, with Bad Ape, there's funny moments, but this isn't one that, you know, you're going to have a great roaring time, you know. It's not like Baby Driver that when you come out of it, you feel like you just want to dance. This one's like, whew, wow, that was really good. But you don't really, you just want to go home and go to bed for a little bit. So, that's my spoiler-free. If you've already seen it, then let's go on to the spoiler part of the review. The fact that they were all captured shocked me. Like, my original idea was that I thought it was going to be like an actual war, you know, Caesar having to send his troops into battle and to fight. And there is a battle at the very beginning where, you know, the humans attack them and then they have to fight back. But I thought that's what the whole movie was going to be. Caesar was going to find a way to... Because I know how Planet of the Apes starts, the first one. You know, Charlton Heston lands on this planet. He doesn't know it's Earth, and he's like, oh, all the humans on this planet are dumb, and all the apes are super intelligent. So I'm like, how are they going to get there? How is that going to happen? So I thought maybe, like, this bad ape is like, maybe he stumbles upon a scientific thing, and they use that to dumb down all of humanity. But you know, that's what I thought from the outside, but I'm like, I don't really see Caesar doing that, you know? He wants peace, even though he doesn't see it. He doesn't want to destroy it. Like, he wouldn't cause a whole genocide like that. So when the movie happens and the Colonel kills his wife and son, and I was like, well, that's kind of a waste of a character. We build up this son's character through the second one, only to kill him off at the beginning of the first one. That kind of sucks. I actually almost, this is a weird thing to say, I actually almost wish the chimp died, but if that was the case, then he would have definitely gone with Caesar. So I guess I can see why they didn't do that. But anyway, when he goes off, I'm like, okay, so he's just going to take this all on himself, you know? He's going to fight them off all by himself. He's going to be more of a go beneath the radar and one guy versus a whole army sort of thing. That could be an interesting story. And I was beginning to think maybe when he comes across this bad ape would lead him to a bunch of other gorillas, and that they would then fight the humans, and that would be where the war was. But no, it's almost like the title should have been Escape from the Prison on the Planet of the Apes. Because this is more of a breakout movie. Because when Caesar finally gets to where the Colonel is, they're all captured. All of the apes. And I was like, oh man, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see that coming at all. So they have all the apes captured, Caesar gets captured, and like the only ones who were not captured is Maurice, Rocket, and the little girl and Bad Ape. And so they have to try to figure out a way to escape. And that I really find interesting. Also, we have that the disease that killed off most of humanity in the first place is now has a second motive, because like obviously the whole Earth was infected. Some of the people had an immunity to it, but now the virus has mutated, and now it's having an effect on human intelligence and human speech. Like at first, it attacks the speech. You can't talk at all. And then he says, then it goes for the intelligence, where you become more and more beast-like. And the little girl is, part of that. But she seems, smart enough at the time. It seems like at this point in history, she still has human intelligence, because she's able to pick up on the sign language that they're doing pretty quickly. So, okay, I'm like, okay, so she's not, stupid just yet, but she is, starting to go down that path, and that's why I'm like, okay, I can see that humanity is going to turn into what we see in the first Planet of the Apes movie. Okay, I can see that from here. I also like the idea of just, like, I don't know why, but it didn't click with me in my head that there was going to be humans fighting each other in this. And I don't know why, because I saw the scene in the trailer where the ape is loading the gun while a plane is coming down. I'm like, what did I think was happening? Was there an ape flying that plane? Stuff like that doesn't click in my brain until I'm watching it, which I think is a good thing, that I don't try to connect the dots in trailers, because I think you can really ruin an experience for yourself if you do that. I mean, heck, it's harder not to do now with everyone just putting every scene in the movie in the trailers, so I'm glad that my brain doesn't make those connections. But I actually found the Colonel sympathetic. I thought that, in the first movie there wasn't no real bad guy, just like a corrupt businessman. In the second movie we had two sides. Gary Oldman's side, who he wasn't really evil, he was just seeing things from his point of view, and you had Koba's side, who did turn to be evil and used it to attack innocent people, and because of that drew these two sides against each other. I have no fault as the two main characters, Caesar and that other guy, fault. They were so close to peace, and those guys both ruin it. But you get to see things from their perspective. So I thought that Woody Harrelson was going to be the character that I got the least. Like, I was thinking, like, well, he's just going to be the evil human, right? But actually, I kind of find his side sympathetic a little bit, to the point where I'm like, I wonder if I would follow him if I was any of these guys. I would like to think that I would want to help the apes, but, it's like, he makes a good point, because he is, like, super strict with all of his men, but he kind of needs to be, because of the virus that it's mutating and is now making people dumber, and he actually had to kill his own son because of that. I mean, that is, it's sympathetic. But he's also, you feel sorry for him, but you also know that Caesar's got to get this guy. Although I'm not sure what I'm supposed to take away from the from his final encounter with him. Like, I think it's karmic justice that he does get the disease and everything, but I don't know if Caesar not shooting him is a sign of mercy, or if that's just it's like, you're not worth it sort of thing. I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to read into that. I think I might have to rewatch it before I really get an idea of what they're doing there. I like that they have to cross a desert to get to where they are, because that really, shows in the original Planet of the Apes movie, they land in a desert and they're stuck, and so they think they're going to die, but then they eventually find the apes. Caesar dying at the end, I'm not sure if it was necessary. It's like, it's a good enough moment, and, you do feel emotional enough to it. I do feel like, he had an arrow wound that he crossed an entire desert with. Not just the desert, they had to go down the mountain or wherever they were, back, and then through the desert. That was a long way, and then he just dies. But I do feel it's very symbolic. It reminds me a lot of Moses, like Moses was able to lead his people to the promised land, but he was never able to actually go in. And so that's what I kind of get the feeling, like he's like, okay, I finally led my people to the place where we can live and survive, but I can't, I'm not going to be able to make it myself. But it was nice. I think it's a nice finality to it, and I think that if you're going to make a story like this, when you want it to be a 3-part story, and you want this to be Caesar's complete story, it's probably best to just kill the character. That way you don't get the studio saying, we need some more money, let's make another Planet of the Apes movie. Yeah, Caesar and everything. Just end off his journey, and I think it's, you know what, it's a fitting conclusion. So, that's all I really have to say about this, so thanks for watching, everybody. I am Lazy Dude. Adios. Be sure to check out some of these other videos on my channel. And wait for more, coming soon.